But they're off.
This is a great honor for every fan of the Dallas Cowboys. I'm honored to be in the NFL.
What can I say? Mamba out.
I'll probably better mute that.
Yeah, might be a good idea.
All right. What's happening, everybody? Welcome to the afternoon show.
Here we go.
Just want to say
Joined
that
by ESEN. I'm Chris Gonzalez, joined by Tony Gonzalez, Jay McLovin, and Big Glenn. How's it going, guys?
I just want to say real quick that you cannot find a better production crew than on this show. By far, we set the freaking bar and the standard. Just saying.
I'm gonna do my best Cody Rhodes impression right now. What do you guys want to talk about? I think there's only one thing to fucking talk about right now, and that's a great sports night last night.
Yes, it was.
Great sports night, a great hockey game, and a definitely great basketball game, especially if you're a Pacers fan. Now, I don't know if I was saying that when I looked at the score. I was at work and it was 108 to 92. I don't know if I was saying that. I thought it was over. I'm gonna be honest with you. But then I looked back a couple minutes later and we're back in the game. So.
Yeah, to the point where Juan Sanchez is still sticking with the Knicks in 6. And he goes on to say, man, how are you guys not going to have LeBron in that intro? And I'm going to tell you why. Because we don't celebrate people who built their careers off flopping. We're the real deal, not this antiquated bullshit, Juan. You want bullshit? Go somewhere else. We only put the real athletes on this show, killer. Flopping ass.
Juan's the guy still saying Boston and 9, so you know what do you expect?
He was looking for the Knicks because they put out the Celtics.
Yeah. He's mad because the Knicks put out the Celtics. He's a Celtics fan.
Well, if he's a Celtics fan, he in Cancun right now.
He's in Cancun and praying to see what's going to happen with his team next year because it's going to be interesting to see what the Boston Celtics look like next year. Okay, guys, let's get into this game last night. The Pacers,
yes,
I was going to say
stunned the New York Knicks, 138 to 135 in overtime. Big Glenn, we'll go to you first. You're the big Pacer guy. You go to all the games. What was your take on this game?
A lot of people are going to say that they're surprised that the Pacers made a comeback last night. I'm not. We've seen this at each round so far. Being down 8 or so points under a minute to go, and all of a sudden, bam, 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 we either back in it, force overtime, or win the game with Tyrese at the buzzer. So, getting down with 4 minutes ago, I wasn't too worried. Then Nesmith started catching fire. One thing that I really noticed last night is when Nesmith started hitting those multiple threes in a row, man, I could feel the crowd, but like, oh, here we go again, man. Then the end of the game happened. So
yeah.
Okay, Jay, what's your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I saw this quote by Halliburton, and it said basically that he did the Reggie Miller choke because he thought he had the 3-ball. And they weren't going to go to overtime. So he wanted to do a quick Reggie Miller. Guy, you're not Reggie Miller. Just sit your butt down. If anybody's Reggie Miller on your team, you just look over at Nesmith. He's the one that saved your ass. Either way, I regress. No, it was great. I thought the game was immense. I mean, literally, I thought, it was a very confident New York team that came out last night. If you look at the stat line, if you watch the game, the biggest thing was the turnovers, right? New York had, I believe, 24 points, if I'm not mistaken, given up. They had, let's see here. They had 15 turnovers. New York gave up the rock 15 times. And out of that 15 times, they gave up 27 points. That's a lot of damn points to give the other team off of turnovers. I mean, you can't win a basketball game when you're giving up 27 points off turnovers and you're committing 15 turnovers.
And
I thought that's one thing that the Pacers did really well. You guys gave up the rock, or you guys had 4 turnovers and you only gave up, or excuse me, you had 7 turnovers and you only gave up 4 points. And I got to tell you, it really should have been 11 points that you gave up, because then it was really the Knicks' fault, not yours, that didn't happen. Because if you watch it, one of them, they had 2 back-to-back steals in the second quarter. And a boy went up for a layup, and I don't know if the guy just ran out of steam, but the damn ball didn't even make it over the rim. It's like it hit the backboard and the rim at the same time and was gone. And then the other one, I think, was another missed layup. I mean, they had 2 open shots on the backboard and couldn't convert either one. And that really hurt them big time. But I felt like, Gonzo and Tony, that one of the biggest things for me was the fact that you give up 15 turnovers, number one, and number 2, you give up 27 points to the other team on those turnovers? What, you can't get back in transition D? What the hell's your freaking problem, New York? That was the biggest point of that game. Not to mention also, can you not please put up some defense on Nesmith? You see this man hit 4 back-to-back 3-pointers, and nobody's thinking maybe I should go over there for the other 3 and actually put some defense or put a hand in his face. For the love of God, foul him. At least you got a chance he'll maybe miss one of those free throws. That was another. And the last point was, if you know, it was like the last minute of the game when the game was right there still within anybody's grasp, and the inbound pass comes in for Indiana, and Indiana gets a free go-to to the bucket for that easy score with not one New York defender in his face. That was some big things, and I think even New York has come out and said it, that in those last minutes, I think leading up to overtime and then even into overtime, they felt like they let up off the gas, and you definitely let up off the gas. And that was a classic Denver Nuggets not being able to close out a game against OKC, and I felt like that's last night what we saw with New York just not able to close out on the Pacers.
Maybe they're tired.
Yeah, I was getting ready to bring that up.
I'm not buying that tired. I'm not buying that tired. Let's not come up with those excuses.
Well,
I'm not going to do that. And I'm
You're
going to speak for Chris.
you already came up with an excuse because you're trying to say they let off the gas. So why they let off the gas?
No. That's not what I said. Listen to what I just said to you.
You said they let off the gas. Listen to me. I did not say that, Gonzo. That is what New York Knicks, the team, said it specifically. I believe it was either Jalen Brunson or Karl Anthony Towns. They're the ones that said that. I'm just repeating to you what they had said. I'm not saying that that's an excuse.
Like are you agreeing with that?
No, I don't. I think they dropped the freaking ball.
Okay. So here's what I think.
I think the 24 turnovers, and I think the lack of defense, or the 24 points off of turnovers that New York gave up, and the fact that they didn't have no damn defense on several plays, they failed to stop Nesmith and put a hand in his face, is squarely on the New York Knicks. Not that they didn't have the ability to win the game, but they just didn't execute.
Somebody, I'm not sure where I saw it. Maybe the fan, maybe somebody that does editorial stuff, but
yeah,
about the fact that the way to end the game is for the Knicks, maybe that they had gotten tired because the way the Pacers run everybody to death. So that honestly, it wouldn't surprise me, even with all those days off.
I do think they got tired, and another reason I say that is because their bench scored like 13 points, 15 points in the first half. They ended up with 15 points. Their bench ended up with 15 points. The Pacers had 31 points off the bench. So the second half, they didn't do anything off the bench as far as scoring. And I mean, yeah, they could have thought they had the game won. I don't know, but Pacers executed, and the Knicks didn't. The other thing the Knicks did, they missed 12 free throws. That kills you, man.
Yes,
it kills you to miss 12 free throws.
Brunson and Cat both short on those threes at the end in overtime too, so that's another reason.
That one was an air ball, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Both
of them were air balls.
Cat's barely, barely grazed the front of the rim.
Yeah. The Pacers. The one thing they got to work on, a couple of things. The rebounding ended up being a little bit better stat wise, but they really got dominated in the first half. Ended up being 46-39 on rebound. I still think they could do better. And the other thing, Knicks had 62 points in the paint. the Pacers are not going to win this series if they continue to let them do that. They gotta tone that down some. Got to play better defense on Towns. Towns is a good player, but he ain't no 30, 33, 35 point a game player. And Turner or somebody's got to step up and play better defense on him. I mean, think about it. Towns scores like 33, 35. Brunson scores 43, and they still lose the game. That's a big loss for the Knicks. Pacers, everything people are saying on. What do you guys take on this? Everybody on TV saying the Pacers are a team of destiny. What do you guys think there's a such thing? I think they're just a good team and winning games and you could say lucky, but when you do it 3 times and once in each series, I don't know if it's luck.
It's like Big Lynn. It's inevitable.
No, they're playing very good. No, the Pacers are playing good basketball. Absolutely playing good basketball. I mean, they really are, I will say, though, damn, you got to admit, I don't care who everybody says, man, that last shot that Halliburton took when he did the choke sign, he wasn't doing that shit when it hit the rim and went about 4 feet up in the air. He thought he missed that shit, too. But when it came back down, look, I don't care. That shit.
Wait a minute. Whoa. Have you watched that whole replay of that?
Damn right, that shit was luck.
It was luck. I didn't ask you if you said it was luck. I asked you have you watched that whole replay of that? Halliburton thought that was going in the whole time. Even when it took the bounce, if you watch him, he's watching and he's walking backwards. He thought it was good. He thought it was good the whole time.
I'll have to go back and rewatch that then. I'll have to go back and rewatch it. Maybe I missed that part.
Even when it takes that bounce, he's walking backwards like it's going in. He thought it was good the whole time.
It's crazy because you watch that back and
but if you want to say that bounce is luck, that's fine. The Pacers winning that game, that wasn't luck.
No, and again, and thank you for the clarification. I'm not saying the fact that they won was luck because clearly they took it in overtime and Naismith. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that one specific shot. That's all I'm saying.
Not a break there, but I just wish he would have been in the 3-point and would have won the game that way because that really would have been a dagger. Even more of a dagger.
It was like a centimeter, man. It was like a centimeter for being a ball game.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I thought it was ball game. I was going crazy. I thought it was ball game, and I'm like, oh fuck! Now we got overtime.
Well, I'm at work and it goes to.
But I thought
then they take it away.
But when we're going into overtime, I felt great because we had all the momentum.
Yeah.
But what I thought about the game was some things is I think New York's in trouble. I think for one that losing a game like that can kind of steal your soul, like I think we did against Cleveland when we beat them like that, and we kind of done the same thing with Milwaukee because it happened to us last year against Boston in Game 1. We had that Game 1 with 10 seconds left, and we turned the ball over. They ended up beating us, and it kind of killed our momentum. But one reason I think New York can be in some trouble. Pacers didn't play their best game last night. Pacers defensively for 3/4 of that game had played the worst defense they played all playoffs.
More than 3/4.
And their defense finally started playing the last 3 minutes of that fourth quarter. And in overtime, you saw the Pacers playing aggressive defense. They started getting some deflections on passes. They were putting a lot more pressure. You didn't see it. We came out. We had our first 10 shots of that game, and at the end of that first quarter, it was tied because we couldn't. Neither team could stop either. We wouldn't play no damn defense.
No, we shot 71% from the field, and I think was down too.
And once we started, but there toward the end, we started playing a lot better defense. So I think our defense will play better from the beginning. But that was big. Pacers didn't shoot the ball very good from the free throw line either. We didn't miss 12, but I think we missed 7.
We were pretty close. I think New York was at 17. I think you were at 71%. I mean, it was you guys were both New York and Indiana were shooting the rock at about the same percentage. Very close.
New York
maybe 1%
missed
better.
Way too many key free throws down the stretch.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I tell you,
I see it about the same as what Gonzo sees it, but I also see it the other way too. That type of game could do one or two things to New York. It'll either A, deflate you and say, hey, we're done, or B, it will it would piss you off, and you're going to come back and do something about it. It depends on which way they go. I think Friday. I think you guys play again on Friday, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yep.
So Friday's game for me is critical to what Gonzo's saying. I think if you go down and you lose, big time, or even if you lose by a little and you go 0-2 to Indiana, yeah, I would say that's detrimental. It all depends on Friday night's game, honestly, because that can go one of two ways. It'll either deflate you or it will piss you off and you'll come out and play hard. That time will tell. But I do think, to y'all's point, that Tibbs does only play 3 or 4 bench players, and that could hurt them going up against a faster-paced team.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons Towns had that bigger game too is we went small most of that second half. Like Miles Turner only played 2 minutes in the fourth quarter. So I mean, like Carlisle went with more of a smaller lineup there in that second half. I think that might have got Towns a little more open, but we done a pretty good job on most of the other guys. Yeah, Towns and Brunson had real big games, but they really didn't have nobody else really go off too well.
We're talking about
where with the Pacers, like Halliburton had a hell of a night. Then of course Neesmith got hot, had a hell of a night. But
Halliburton didn't start off good though. Man, that man, I think it was middle of the second quarter, and I think he only had like 4 points. But it seems like as the tail end of that second quarter, into the half, and then into the third, he started to pick up momentum and he started picking up speed. He found his shot, but he kind of came out a little flat in that first quarter and a half. You know what I'm saying?
He didn't take a lot of shots in that. He didn't take a lot of shots in that first quarter.
Yeah,
that's how he plays. That's how he plays, OJ. He's more of a pass first guy. Sometimes I'm yelling. I'm like, you need to look to score because he's so good when he's aggressive. But he didn't come out aggressive looking to score. You're right. He didn't. In that second quarter, he started being aggressive and he got going. Neesmith though, people act like they're surprised about what happened with Neesmith last night. If you watch the Pacers play, you shouldn't be. He shoots the ball 45% for the season. He's
playoffs. He's been 53.
From 3-point range.
53.
Playoffs, he's been over 50% from 3-point range. Like that dude.
I think a lot of that may have. I mean, especially for me, I can't speak for everybody, but I know in the market that I'm in, yeah, we're not watching Indiana basketball. I mean, I know Halliburton and a few other guys because I know them from other teams and things of that nature. Neesmith, they don't know a lot about the guy, because we don't see much.
That's what I'm saying. It's a surprise that the people that are fans of the Pacers or watch the Pacers, it's not a surprise because, like I said, he's shooting over 50% from 3-point in the playoffs, and he was like at 45 or 43% during the regular season. If you give him some space, he can definitely knock him down. And Halliburton's clutch. I mean, that he shows up in big moments.
You're right. Neesmith was averaging 12 points a game, 4 rebounds, 1.2 assists, and you're right. He was at 50.7% shooter. So yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Hey, we got some breaking news, somewhat related to sports. WrestleMania next year is no longer going to be in New Orleans. It's getting moved. They didn't say where yet.
But and then like everybody's saying that or not everybody, but there's a lot of people that want to say Pacers, it was luck. It's hard to say it's luck when it keeps happening.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Just look at me.
I mean, like you could say, "Oh, they blew it," but if you watch the Pacers, I'll tell you something. The Pacers are great at, and I think you guys are going to agree with this. Defending the inbounds pass at the end of games, the Pacers are at a high level on that. If you watched in this playoffs, how many turnovers have they got at the end of games when teams are trying to get them? I mean, that's one is at least 3 games in this playoffs. Is our defense of creating turnovers off inbound passes, and it happens repeatedly at the end of games. So when to me, it's not luck. That's a skill they have. Is they force teams into making those turnovers at the end of the games on them inbounds passes, and I think that's been a big key for especially in the playoffs.
Yep.
Like I said, it's one of three big games that we could have very easily lost.
Yeah, that trap that they hit on Brunson where he about turning it over, and stuff. I forget if it was at the end of regulation or in overtime.
Oh yeah, there was 2 or 3. You're right. There was 2 or 3 other times we almost had turnovers that we just barely missed. Like, oh,
I'll tell you what. Hey, I remember watching Obi Toppin in the first half go for that slam,
And I swear that ball came off that rim about 15 feet, it seemed like.
Yeah, but he got one at the end of the game when it mattered and got fouled and they didn't call it.
Yeah, they didn't call that foul. I don't know what the hell.
It happens. Yeah, it happened. It was a good game. Overall, I thought it was a well-fought game. I didn't think
that would have sealed the game there if he hits the free throw. We're up by 4, then we would have.
Oh man, you can say a lot of things, right? I mean, that would have sealed the game. Probably, New York not turning the ball over 15 times probably would have sealed the game for the other way. I mean, there's a lot of things that could have altered that game a lot.
And leave it to Zach Zarba, a New York native, who's a referee for the longest time period in the NBA, to overturn that foul call where Rick challenged the foul call on, I think it was Pascal and Brunson.
Okay.
That was huge. Him overturn that call pretty much set the table for the finish.
One thing I think it could be interesting to watch for the Knicks, and I think if they're going to win this series, they're going to have him, and that's Anunoby. He did not play well. I know he ended up with 15 points, but he didn't play very well, and I think the pace got to him. I think that pace messed with him, and also Hart was great on rebounds, but he only had like 8 points. So they're going to need Anunoby to step up and play better.
Absolutely.
If the Knicks are going to have a chance to win this series, because I could be wrong. I just don't think Towns is going to score 30 points every game. And I could be wrong. He may be a matchup problem for the Pacers, and maybe he does. But I don't think he's that type of player. I don't think he's a 30-point.
Well, and also Bridges needs to have a bigger part in that team as well. I mean, they gave up 5 draft picks for him. I feel like, if you're gonna give that many draft picks, they're gonna need more production from him as well. And especially when you're not playing your bench all that much.
I think, I really do. I think they got tired and they turned the ball over, but also Pacers play that way. In the fourth quarter, they put a lot of pressure on defense they put a lot of pressure, and it seems like a lot of teams crack. And I think some of it is because of fatigue. And if you get tired, then your mental decisions get worse. So I think that pressure, because the Pacers don't get tired, man. They really don't, because they play 10 guys 15 minutes, at least 15 minutes or more. So they don't get tired.
I noticed that as well. And since I sit up in the fan zone behind our bench, I'm able to see when Rick's trying to wave the team down to come put pressure on the inbounds and stuff, So it's amazing to see him work all that.
And
I really feel like if the Pacers do make it to the finals, it's got to be OKC in the finals, because, like you said, you guys run and gun. Well, so does OKC, and that would just be nothing but a track meet.
And OKC plays great defense too. So.
Yeah, could you imagine? I mean, seriously, if Pacers and OKC were in the finals, could you imagine that? That'd be a hell of a game, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that'd be like watching the 07 Colts and the 07 Cowboys, that one game where the Cowboys beat the Colts up and down the field, Romo and T.O. and Peyton and Reggie Wayne, up and down the field.
Yeah, it's gonna be that would be. I think that's gonna be a good series if that actually comes to fruition.
Since 1997, there's only been 4 teams that have won being down by 8 or more points with 50 seconds left, and 3 of them are the Pacers this playoffs.
Yeah,
that's crazy. It's only happened 4 times since 97, and 3 of them are within the last month.
Okay, guys, let's move on to tonight's game real quick. Gloss over that a little bit. Minnesota Timberwolves at the Oklahoma Thunder. Guys, Thunder put on a clinic, especially in that second half. Edwards is going to have to step up.
I got one more question. One more thing about the Pacers.
Okay.
Win, because I believe we're going to win this series.
No, you said it right the first time. You were doubting it. Say what you were going to say the first time.
Yeah. Are you going to let me finish what I was going to say? When we win this series, because actually this you're included in who I'm asking this question to. It's a lot of people. When we win this series, what's everybody's excuse going to be when the Knicks are healthy and we beat them? You guys don't have the excuse. Oh, they got people were hurt, or this person was hurt, or this person was hurt. What's going to be the excuse this time that the little old Indiana Pacers or in the finals.
Frankie said it best when Pacers kill us game 3, or not Pacers, but the Cavs kill us game 3 at the Fieldhouse. No excuses.
Hey, if you listen to the show, I don't get no excuse. I said it was a legitimate win. You guys got a legitimate good win, and I'm not saying that everybody knows the Knicks are healthy. If you get it, you get it. And you got a good team. I'm not saying the Pacers are not a good team; they're a good team, And we'll see what happens.
Yes, we will.
It's gonna be a long series.
But I do want to go back real quick, and I didn't mean to cut you off.
I said in 5 or 6, I believe we're going to win the series. I do.
It's all in the
knowing,
better
Chris.
I'm predicting 6.
I just want to go on record that Chris started that sentence off with "if" and not "when," and I just wanted to point that out.
The reason I did that, I did. And the reason I did that because
I know because you don't believe it.
Oh my fucking god! The reason I started was because at first I was thinking in my head, "Oh no, I'm not going to jinx them." But then I thought about, no, I've been confident. I've been saying they're going to win every playoff series, so I'm not going to jinx them. So we're going to win this series, just like I said yesterday. I said 5 or 6. I think we're going to 5 because I think we're going to win game 2 in New York and go back in, like we did last series against Cleveland, and we're going to go back to Indiana up 2-0.
I don't believe in jinxes. All thing I know about is winning. Pacers are going to get the job done.
Okay.
He said Pacers in 5, easy.
Oh yeah, I do. I know he's gonna say that.
Yeah, sounds quite right too. So
hey, Glenn, are you going to real quick before we move on? Are you going to Banker's Life on Friday night to that big watch party they're having?
Yep, I'm going to start the day off over a carb day with Mom over at the track. Make sure it's a slow day for me. Don't be going too crazy over there. And save enough in the tank for Friday night. Same with Sunday with the race. So,
how's that work? Do you have to get tickets for that?
Yeah, they released them on Tuesday morning at 10 o'clock, and I know how the Ticketmaster thing works. So once the thing, when the clock hit 10 in the morning, I hit the refresh button, and the tickets were available. And if you stayed in line and didn't hit the refresh button on Ticketmaster, you probably didn't get a ticket because they went in pretty much instantly.
Oh yeah, I bet. All
right. Well, let's go back there to Minnesota and Oklahoma. I think Edwards has got to step up for Minnesota if they're going to have a chance. Also, Minnesota only shot 29% from 3-point line. They had 17 turnovers. Thunder had 54 points in the paint to Minnesota's 20. I just think Minnesota's outmatched, guys. I know that they played each other last year in the finals. I think they're in trouble. I think Minnesota's in a lot of trouble. After that game, I think we could be looking at a sweep.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm not going to go as far as to say sweep. Maybe I would probably go as far as to say gentleman's sweep. If we're going to say sweep, I don't think it's going to be a sweep. I think if it is a sweep, it'll be a gentleman's sweep. I don't think it's going to be an actual sweep. I do think there is some fight in Minnesota that they would keep that from happening. But you're right. The style of defense that OKC's playing, the pace of tempo at which they play it in, clearly has Edwards and the Minnesota T-Wolves as a whole off balance. And if they don't figure a solution out for that, yeah, it's not going to be a long series. Let's put it that way. And I don't think that Anthony Edwards is going to be grabbing his junk, looking at the crowd, talking about how big his what is, because he's out there getting spanked. So let's just put that to rest.
Well, Edwards couldn't get to the paint. He said I tried, and he said I couldn't get in there. So that's worried. I mean they're gonna have to change their scheme. They're gonna have to do something to try to get to the paint because he's an okay shooter from the outside, but he's not a great outside shooter. He's better going to the basket, and they need him going to the basket.
He's quote unquote from Anthony Edwards, quote to quote. I mean, it's hard to process because it was different every time. Talking about the defense. Edwards said after game 1, heavy in the gap, sometimes trap the ball screen, sometimes don't, sometimes just run and jump. It's kind of similar to like AAU They remind me of like an AAU defensive team, just run and jump, fly around. It's pretty good. So yeah, the time to be alive, man. I gotta tell you, if they don't figure that out, it's not, like you said, it's not gonna be a long series. It's gonna be short.
Chris, what do you think?
I think the Thunder's going to win the series, but I think Minnesota. Actually, I think Minnesota's going to come out and probably win tonight's game.
Really?
Minnesota's coach, I think, is a good coach. For one, I think they'll make some adjustments. One thing they got to do, Anthony Edwards has to take more than 13 shots. Like Minnesota's not going to win games with Edwards only getting 13 shots up. Like you said, they got to get.
Yeah.
I think that coach will get some things drawn up and get them in the paint. They got to create some turnovers so they can get out and transition some, because that'll help them get in the paint. But because they don't want to get into just a half court defense of OKC and then having to try that. They need to do what OKC and the Pacers do real well is score early in the shot clock. Because if you can do that, you're getting some transition buckets, you're getting in the paint, and the longer you're in an offensive possession deeper in that shot clock, the more the defense can tighten up on you. So I think they need to try to get quicker shots, a little bit quicker shots up. But the big thing is you got to attack the paint, and Anthony Edwards has to have more than 13 shots. He has to be taking at least 25 shots a game if Minnesota's going to have a chance to win these games. He has to take 25 to 30 shots a game. I mean, he's their guy.
Yeah, Randall looked real good the first half, but they slowed him down the second half. So
Randall looked like a damn all NBA MVP or not during the first half of that game. He was everywhere. They slowed him down in the second half. But because
for me,
playing at a high level, but they need Edwards to keep up his high level if they're going to have a shot. But I think Minnesota bounces back tonight and gets a win. But I do think OKC's going to win the series.
Big Glenn, what do you think?
Yeah,
I still think Oklahoma State takes it as well. They might be able to. Well, Minnesota might be able to make it competitive, but they need to get tonight if they want to do that.
I'll tell you, I said
series could only go 5-6 games. I could see the East series and the West series maybe only going 5-6 games. I'd be surprised if either one of them goes 7.
Yeah, I felt like I felt like you're right. With Anthony Edwards as your star player, and you're only getting this 13 points or 13 shots, that's an issue. The other issue I thought was, and I really felt like the factor in this series is how well DiVincenzo plays, because that's their 3-ball shooter, and this guy goes 3 for 14, 3 for 12 at the 3-point line, and then Alexander Johnson, or whatever, Alexander Walker goes 3 for 11. I mean, when you got DiVincenzo and that's what, 25, 26 possessions right there between the two of them. And you're scoring at probably 20% rate between those two guys. That's freaking huge. And when DiVincenzo's going 3 for 12 at the 3-point line, maybe he ought to realize, hey, this isn't my night. Maybe I need to look to get other people involved, because he did account for 30 minutes of play, in that game. So that was a pretty significant factor as well.
I think Minnesota's got to find a way to get to the hoop. They got to find a way to drive to the hoop and get baskets that way. That may open up their 3-point shooting a little bit more. We'll see.
And because I watched a lot of that game the other night, Minnesota looked like a totally different team in the first half than they did in the second half. In the second half, if you watch them offensively, it was a lot of just everybody just standing around and watching whoever had the ball. There wasn't no movement. If you in the first half, they were tired. In the first half, there was a lot more movement, and they led. They had a big lead in the first half. Minnesota did. I think I think a lot of people forget that because the way the game ended up ending. But it looked like Minnesota might run away with that game at one point in a time in that game, and then OKC had a great second half and blew them out. But Minnesota they're going to have to put the level they played in that first half. They're going to play that way the second half offensively, where there's movement. Because I think that was why Randall got so slowed up in the second half. It was all just ISO one-on-one stuff. And if you watch a lot of these teams in the playoffs, the teams that go to that ISO one-on-one stuff are the teams that that struggle to score offensively. It happened to the Celtics. When the Celtics struggle, it's they get the ball's not moving. When the Pacers struggle offensively, it's the ball's not moving. Same way with OKC. I mean, if the ball's moving, it's a lot easier to score points than the ISO stuff. Because the ISO stuff, yeah, when your guy's on, it's great. But if you're not hitting, because a lot of times ISO stuff is a tough shot. You're not getting a wide open, easy shot. A lot of times just a step back or, you know what I mean? It's a tough shot. And if you're not hitting them, not only did you not score in that possession, but you didn't get the best shot you could have got to give yourself a chance to score. Where if the ball's moving, it seems like more times than not, a lot of times you get a lot better shot.
Well, yeah, when you're playing team ball or facilitated type ball, you're going to have better shots because you're keeping the defenders off their heels. When you're playing ISO ball, I mean, you put two guys on an ISO ball. Yeah, you may give up a foul, but a lot of times, he's not going to get that shot. He's going to waste a lot of energy trying to get to the hoop when if you just pass it and get a better shot or get a better angle at it, you're much better off. And yeah, ISO ball one person ball never defeats team ball, and I like the ones that play team ball. We saw that with Harden. Trust me, I've seen plenty of ISO ball with Harden.
Okay, guys, let's move on. If you guys ready to some hockey, last night the Dallas Stars beat the Edmonton Oilers 6-3, and this was a crazy game because through 2 periods it looked like the Oilers had Dallas's number. 3-1, and then I didn't get to see the game. I got to see some highlights stuff. Of course, I was at work, but the Stars got the power plays. Got about 3 penalties in a row on the Oilers, and they made them pay, man. They made them pay big time, and ran away with the game in the third period, 6-3. That's one thing that Edmonton scores a lot of goals, but they give up a lot of goals. And Dallas has got a good goalie, so that's why I picked Dallas. That's why I've been watching Dallas, and that's why I picked Dallas over Edmonton, even though I like Edmonton a lot. But they've won Edmonton's won a lot of games 5-4, 6-5, that type thing. So they give up goals, but they score goals. Dallas has got a good goalie, and he held them down to 3. Even though they got 3 in the first 2 periods, he held them down in the third period and then let Edmonton get going. That's why I went with Dallas in 7. But and plus they had the home field advantage, but home ice advantage. But that was a crazy game. Jay, we'll go to you because you're a Dallas Star guy.
Yeah, if you look at it, when you look at by quarters, in the first quarter is 1-1, second quarter it's 3-1, and that's when the second quarter is when I had to go outside and have a moment with Jesus in the forest because I was like, damn it, man, we're gonna lose this one. I don't know if we can come back from 3-1 deficit going into the third and final period. I felt like I just didn't know if Dallas was going to have enough to do that. But then ultimately, Dallas gets 5 goals in the third period. And I'm like, and I looked at Melanie, because Melanie's a Dallas person. She's from Dallas. And I said, can you believe what I'm seeing right now? I said, and Granlund got 1 of the goals. And then the rest of them were by off people, not Harley, not Hintz, not Rantanen. It was by guys like Steele or Seguin or Lindell. I mean, not your typical stars that you would think that would be catapulting them back into it, right? And the fact that they were getting the goals from the more role player type guys, that said a lot for me. Now, it did, like that guy said earlier, and I will point it out, that Edmonton does have more of a rookie goalie in Skinner. But still, man, I mean, this is Edmonton, and Tony, I know you watched some of Edmonton when they played against Vegas Golden Knights, and so you know how good Edmonton is. And I was surprised, honestly, for us to get 5 goals in 1 period. That blew my freaking mind. I didn't think that was possible. But like you said, a lot of it was power play driven.
But Edmonton, and also, I'm not making excuses because that's the way it goes sometimes. It's unusual to see 2 or 3 of these goals were high in the net, and you usually don't see very many of them high in the net.
Right.
So, I mean, I think everything kind of Dallas got on a roll and everything went Dallas's way. I still think it's going to be a long series. I still think it'll be a set. I think Edmonton may come back and still get one at Dallas. So Dallas, if Dallas can hold their home ice and get the second game when they play, I think they play Friday. It'd be huge for Dallas. I think that really is big. But Edmonton's going to come out. They're going to come out on fire. So I think it's going to be a great series.
Yeah, I fully do expect that. Last thing I wanted to say about that, I think one of the biggest keys to that game was the face-off, and we beat them 62% of the time on that face-off, and that was a big thing, because if you look at all the rest of the stat categories and things like that, it was a very close game. I mean, in terms of penalty minutes and shots and hits and things like that, it's all very, very close. But when you look at the face-off, that was a huge part of it, and I think obviously the penalty minutes of 14-12 in favor of Dallas. Those big. They're going to need that again in game 2, because Edmonton's not going to take that lightly. They're going to come full force. What are y'all over there playing footsie? What are y'all doing over there?
You start talking hockey and Chris gets all choked up.
Yeah.
I know.
Chris, you got anything on hockey? Nope. What about you, Big Glenn?
Nope. Same.
Nope.
I didn't watch no hockey last night. I was watching the Pacer game.
I'm gonna watch hockey tonight. We got Florida Panthers against Carolina Hurricanes tonight.
We got a Yankee fan on the show. Wow.
Yep. Well, Yankee McLevin, huh? But we got the Florida Panthers against Carolina Hurricanes at Carolina. Florida destroyed them the last game, 5-1. I picked Florida to win the series. I still think they will in 5 or 6. I think they got a really good goalie, and they're just a tough team, and they're so good on the road. I think they're the best road team left in the hockey series right now. So
yeah, it's one of those things. I have paid attention enough to the hockey to form an opinion on Florida, and just ask the Toronto Maple Leafs how good they are on the road.
Yep. Well, I don't know if Jay's still here or not.
Who won game 1 of that series?
Florida on the road, and they put it on them pretty good. Well, guys,
is it the Hurricanes goalie that was? I guess must have been having. I think his weak spot is high glove hand.
Yeah, I think so. Yep.
Because I know from. I don't watch a lot of hockey, but from what I heard on McAfee's show and on some other shows, they were talking about that's where it seemed Florida was attacking was his high glove side, and that he would like to clean that up. 5-2 Florida.
Yeah, they're strong, man. And the champs from last year. Somebody beats them, they're going to be tough to deal with. Well, guys,
all kinds of trouble over here. Good afternoon, Sonia.
We'll see when Jay comes back in, but let's talk a little bit Jim Irsay. Chris, we'll go to you first. And what's your take on it? Mr. Irsay passed away, I believe, yesterday afternoon. Did you see his last tweet?
Yeah.
Last tweet wishing the owners and the Indiana owners of the Pacers and the Pacers good luck in the series.
It was a big surprise. I mean, I knew he'd been having some health issues, but I never expected that yesterday we were going to hear that Jim Irsay passed away. But I think what you just bringing up that tweet, I think that kind of sums up what Jim was like. His last tweet was wishing the Pacers luck. He was just like in the media. He got a bad rap. I mean, he had some demons. He done some things, but he was one of the most generous people. Like the stories I've heard about him, and you hear people talk about him, and just like we went to that thing that the Colts had where everything was free. He had that concert, like parking was free. You got free food. I mean, it was just he done a lot for the state of Indiana and the city of Indianapolis. Not just being the Colts owner, just he would give I've heard stories of him just walking around like downtown and giving random people $2,000-$3,000 cash.
He was a funny dude.
Yeah, he was different.
But I mean, well, not that I meant funny. I mean, here's some of his stories and stuff. I mean, you crack up. I mean, I seen some today. McAfee show.
Oh yeah,
McAfee was replaying. McAfee taking kind of hard a little bit because he's pretty close to Irsay. Irsay did a lot for McAfee. So,
yeah. Well, McAfee says he wouldn't be who he is without Jim Irsay.
Yes. So learned a lot of business stuff from Irsay.
But yeah. I think one thing I was glad to see is how many Colts, like former Colts players and people that have came out and spoke about him and some of the stories they've said or told, and that because like I said in the media, sometimes he would get a bad rap from some of the stuff that had happened, and sometimes he would say some stuff that some people thought was a little crazy and stuff. Like he was a different.
Yeah,
dude.
you know exactly which one I'm thinking of too, Chris.
Love music, and he was a loyal guy. Like if he hired somebody, a lot of times he would stick with them longer than maybe he should, thinking, oh, they're going to do the job. I mean, he was pretty loyal in that way as well. So it sucks that he passed away, but it's going to be interesting to see
wasn't real old.
How much the Colts organization changes without him being around. But yeah, he was what, 65?
Yeah. Didn't you say you thought his daughter would take over?
Yeah, I think it's the daughter would be the ones that'll be taking over.
Yeah, not Kaylin, but the other one that's
been
practicing. Yeah, that's who it is. She is officially assumed ownership now under
She's the one that, Glenn, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't Carly the one that's been like on the sidelines wearing the headset and all that stuff for like the last 4 or 5 seasons?
Yep, pretty much, man. Yeah,
like, man. His daughters have been she's been around like the last 6-7 years, really been around the building,
learning everything.
Yeah, learning stuff, kind of preparing for. I don't think they thought it would happen this soon, but preparing for when Jim was done.
Glenn, your take on this?
Man, what a guy Jim was. If you follow Indianapolis sports closely or sports in Indiana in general, you pretty much know how much he means to the community here in Indiana. And to go back on what Chris was saying about the Ursay concert that we all went to, I think it was a year or 2 ago, man. Some of the artifacts in his collection are freaking insane. I mean,
his collection was awesome. I'd have liked to see, because that was just part of it.
Yeah, he didn't have
that was part of it. I'm sure he has stuff in that collection that, you know, that is even crazier than what we saw, you know. That just all the stories, man, is true. Obviously he had demons, but you know, at the end of the day, some of us people, you know, we do have issues and stuff and things like that. Definitely should be judged on that as well. Obviously, you know, while I was referring to when Chris was talking about some of the stuff in the national media, you know, him saying he's prejudiced against or being prejudiced against because he's a billionaire, you know, that was kind of outlandish. But you know, at the end of the day, if you've paid attention to Jim Irsay enough, you know he's kind of like silly like that. So
years ago, it's been over 20 years ago. I worked for this construction company. I actually worked at his house out in his backyard on a helicopter pad. He had put a pad in to land his helicopter so he could land the helicopter back there. And we were running, I think, ran some electricity or some stuff out there to it. And you just see him driving around on a golf cart or something around the property. It was, like I said, that was like 20-something years ago. So he would have been like in his 40s.
That was Carmel.
Yep.
That's where he lived. Yeah. I think he was a really pretty good guy. Like I said, talk about demons. Everybody's got demons. Everybody's got issues. Everybody's got good in them. Everybody's got bad in them. It's just the way it is. But yeah, I think Irsay was definitely a good owner. I think he's going to be sorely missed in the Indiana community, Indianapolis community.
He's going to be sorely missed in the NFL too. Because he was he was the longest, one of the longest standing owners in the league as well. So I think he wasn't. Yeah, so like he had a lot of say there at the owner meetings and stuff.
I think he became vice president in '94, took over the team from his dad in '97. So, but
he was a general manager for a while too.
Yep. Yeah, he's gonna be sorely missed. Jay was talking about Irsay. What was your thoughts on that?
Yeah, you know, Jim Irsay, man, I like Jim Irsay for a lot of reasons. I really do. I am a huge music enthusiast, and his collection of stuff was just mind-boggling. I think he had like over $1 billion. His collection was worth over $1 billion. And he had anything and everything in music history in his collection. And he didn't just keep it to himself, which is what I love. He actually puts it in museums and Hall of Fames and all kinds of stuff, so people can actually go and see the collection. So he just
I don't know if you were on. I don't know if you could hear us talking, but we actually got to see a big part of that collection a couple of years ago. He set it up at Lucas Oil Stadium, had a concert where his band played, and he had a bunch of the guitars and all.
Right,
you could go around and look at his
American
collection.
history too.
It was. I mean,
look, my all-time favorite is Johnny Cash, and he had a good collection.
I think he has some Johnny Cash stuff in there. That's for sure.
Yeah, and I always said, man, no, I'm not gonna say it on TV. I can probably get in trouble. I don't want many criminal complaints against me, but if I ever had a chance to get a hold of that Johnny Cash guitar, boy, I tell you.
Hey,
comes up missing. We know where it.
He had sports stuff. He had sports stuff too, not just music. But he had a original robe that Muhammad Ali wore as Cassius Clay. Yeah, he had all kinds. Of stuff.
He had the shoes that Sylvester Stallone wore in Rocky 1. He had the Rocky 1 script. He had Sylvester Stallone's notebook with the script for the Rocky movie. I mean, he has all kinds of.
I mean, I heard it was
awesome.
Well, listen, man, I heard he had the original condom that John Holmes wore in his first porn. So I mean, the guy's collection went long and deep.
Hey, Mark,
the guy's collection went long and deep, no pun intended. But no, seriously,
I didn't see that part of the collection, but
I didn't either.
But I mean, it could be there.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Everybody saw it. Don't lie. No, seriously though. Hey, on a for real note though, man, you know, Jim Irsay died way too young. What is he? I think he was 65. I think the guy who's been around for like 100 years, but yet he only looks 65 years old. I don't believe Jim Irsay was 65. I think that's just a number they're giving us because I got a feeling Jim Irsay has been around a lot longer than that. But good influential person in the game of football, like you said, good staple in the football world. He will be missed. I'm assuming, I'm guessing that his daughters will, who I believe are pretty much involved pretty well in the Colts organization, will probably just be a seamless transition of power from their dad to them. So I don't think your team is going to suffer any setbacks in terms of that. I think they're just going to pick up where he left off on the legacy and keep it going forward.
We haven't mentioned it yet, but his impact, their family's impact on the city of Indianapolis should never be understated.
Oh yeah, there was like buildings downtown that needed redone and stuff. He would give money to get them done.
Yes.
I've heard.
So y'all went through some revitalization in the Indianapolis downtown area.
Indianapolis was nothing before the Colts got here. I mean, you had the Pacers, but they was essentially ass at the time. So.
There's stories that like he'd go to the grocery store or something and see like how the Girl Scouts set up selling cookies. He'd walk up to the table and give them $2,000 and they'd pack up and go home.
We're gonna go eat cookies.
But instead of buying cookies, he'd give them $2,000 for the Girl Scouts or whatever. He goes, yeah, you'd see him just pack up and leave.
Yeah, I would too.
Hey, I would too. Hey, look, I done met my quota. What more do you want from me? Thank you, Mr. Irsay.
Girls got cook out like the Samoas. Yeah. I'll be eating all the damn Samoas, man.
You eat Samoas?
Yep. Not Samoans, Samoas.
Oh, okay. I wanted to clarify that.
I think it'd be the other way around if that was Samoans.
I just want a clarification.
Samoans.
Hey, look, I got Chris saying if when he should have said when. I got you saying Samoan or Samoan when he should have said Samoa.
He's talking about eating Samoans, and he's talking about John Holmes' condoms. So you know what the hell? You probably use that for that.
Oh yeah, right. Because I'm the only one that's ever looked at pornography. Shut your pipe.
I tell you what, man.
But Irsay, that his contributions, like what Glenn's saying, that is going to be missed. What he's done for Indianapolis and what he continued to do, and even like on Twitter, like every year every week he was giving away like a bunch of Colts tickets and stuff. He'd ask trivia questions, and people so many people get it right. He'd give tickets, and hell, when he gave out tickets, he usually gave you like $200 or $300 to eat and shit like that.
I got kids all over the place. I ain't never used a condom.
No, not that you didn't ever use one. It just
like that
make one that small.
Where it has like a big one of those big vans with the TVs inside. You know, your uncle. If your uncle drove one of these, he's probably got kids you don't know about.
What the hell are we talking about vans for?
Okay, let's bring it back.
We went off track.
I think it's time to. We got anything else that we're gonna get to today?
Jay wanted to touch.
Oh yeah. Let's wrap it up with this.
We'll talk about some
jazz.
Chinese. My fault. Chinese.
There you go, Mike. That's exactly true.
It said Pops used to come to give New York to Halle Burton.
What the hell?
Yeah. So apparently, and I hope I get this correct. Let me pull. I want to make sure I get his name correct. Otherwise, it could be worse than the Samoa part that was said earlier today. Let me find it out.
Tony Hollinsworth's on here.
Yep.
Hey, how's it
You
going?
said what? Just give me one sec. Okay. Wow, that's why they haven't put it on. Okay, there we go. All right. So there is a new Tony. Oh, Lord. We gotta stop putting it. We're gonna get banned. All right. Back to sports real quick. New Asian college basketball league is going to open up. I believe, if I've read that correctly, it's going to start in August of 2025. So really in just a few months, this league will be starting up. And the idea is it's going to incorporate all the universities and colleges and Korea, Japan, obviously China, Taiwan, anywhere in Asia. It's going to be an all Asian league, right? So all these universities are going to come together. It's being invested by, I think is it Joseph Tsai, TSAI, the owner of the New York or Brooklyn Nets. Let's put it that way. The owner of the Brooklyn Nets and also owner of the New York Liberty is investing heavily in this league. So the NBA is taking notice. Obviously, it's on ESPN. So a lot of people are taking notice of this new league. And I think the idea for them, the idea is that they want to try to find the next Yao Ming or find the next Jeremy Lin. This could be a huge gateway into the NBA draft, honestly, if they were able to develop and do what they need to do and cultivate these young talents in Asia. That could be the next big wave. We've already seen the European wave, right? Every European country just about has a basketball star some kind of way, even down into Brazil, right? In South America, they have their own stars, right? And I think the next wave to come into started with Jeremy Lin and Yao Ming, but I think now we're going to see a lot more of an influx coming from the Asian community. And I think this is going to be big, guys. There's a lot of really highly skilled guys that come out of those Asian countries. We see what they can do in the technology world. We saw what Yao Ming brought to it. Who's to say what the next one's going to be? What do y'all think about Asia getting into the basketball realm?
Let me ask you guys, how many years do you think it take for them to really make an impact? I'm gonna say 10 to 15 years.
Yeah, sounds about right. 5 if they really get things. If they have it right coming out the gate, I give it 5.
What'd you say?
I can give you the actual acronym for it. It's called AUBL. So this guy, Jay Lee spelled L-I. Jay Lee has 2 goals for the new Asian University Basketball League. That's the name of it. Asian University Basketball League, otherwise known as AUBL. A first of its kind college basketball organization that will launch this summer, August specifically, I believe, on the world's largest continent, obviously being Asia. So, yeah.
So is that your brother, Jay?
It's be a pretty big deal over there.
Is that your brother, Jay? Your Asian brother, Jay Lee?
I mean, I got seed all over, so possibly.
Yeah.
I will tell you, I spent a very large amount of time over in that part of the world. So, yeah.
Hold on. I ain't letting this go. How could it be your seed if it's your brother?
Oh, is that what he said, brother?
Yeah, I meant brother. Asian brother, yeah.
Oh
I mean,
no, I
maybe
thought
it's a
I thought,
family.
I
I
thought
don't
you were
know.
talking children. Well, my daddy spent some time over in that side of the world, so who's to say? I don't know.
Okay. All right. That
Yeah,
sounds better.
J. Lee Lee McLovin. It'd be JLI McLovin.
Yeah.
I wonder if
What Tony says, that's what it sounds like to me, kind of a G League type thing. I think it'll take a while to make an impact.
I was trying to. No, I still think it's probably 10. I think it's probably about 10 years away, right? To really get developed and establish programs and to do what they got to do. I think it's still going to be a little bit away. It says in August, the league will host a tournament. Watch this. This is in August, the league will host a tournament with a group stage and knockout round for 12 elite Asian college basketball programs, including the University of Hong Kong, Peking University, which is in China. That will culminate with the Final Four and champion in the 2026. The AUBL will play a full schedule, which will include road and home games. So I think this is going to be set up a little bit like March Madness for those guys over there. To a certain, it won't be as extensive amount of teams, but I think it'll have that kind of format. Yeah.
Like a World Cup kind of thing.
From what I'm reading here, what it sounds like it sounds like the AUBL is basically almost like the NCAA.
Yeah, very much so.
Because this is going to be colleges.
Okay.
So they're basically almost like a conference. They've almost basically formed a big conference with all these different colleges. Right, Jay? In a way, it's basically
that's exactly right. No. What you said is exactly. It's a very small version of the NCAA.
Like all we do, like basically a big conference, and that's going to be the league. They'll play against each other.
I got a question for Jay. You know what the mascot is for Peking University?
Duck, I believe.
Yes, it is duck. Peking duck.
Yeah. I'm pretty. So one last thing I wanted to point out that I want to make sure I had this correct. So the league.
That's basically what it is a conference because it says it's it's sanctioned by the Asian University Sports Federation.
Do you know what the mascot is for Hong Kong University?
Probably like something like seahorses or something like that. Because I know some of the teams over there got some weird names.
Hey, Jay, you should know this. Hong Kong Fooey.
Hong Kong Fooey. Kung Fu Naki.
I'm messing with Jay.
So the league has the backing of.
Oh shit!
Right, we're going to end it on this one. So the league apparently has the backing of multiple investors.
Oh shit!
You'll need to rein it in. Rein it in. Glenn, rein it in.
It's bad when Jay's trying to bring things in. That shows you how bad things went off the rail. Oh Lord.
The league has the backing of multiple investors, including Joe Tsai, TSAI, the owner of the Brooklyn Nets and the New York Liberty. The AUBL will play its first game. I was right. They will play their first game in August. Lee told ESPN this week after announcing it had raised the initial funding to move forward with the league. So they're getting, hey, all I'm saying is this league is getting some NBA investments through its owners. So I expect this to, I don't know how long it's going to take. Joe, I don't think it'll take 50. I think that's a little far-fetched. I don't think it's going to be 5. I think what Tony's saying, around 10 years with consistent development, I think we'll start seeing the fruits.
It could take longer than that because if you look at this summer, the AUBL is set to host its inaugural season. And their inaugural season is a single tournament format from August 18th through 24th. So it's only 1 week, like one weekend.
Yeah.
And
I think that's only because it's just right. And I think a lot of that's just because it just started. I mean, could it take 50 years? I mean, maybe. I think it just depends on how much traction.
I don't know if it'll take 50, but it'll
10 years, you might say.
I think that's why when Tony said 10, I'm more inclined to believe what he's saying, like 10 to 15, I think sounds about right. You know,
I don't follow international basketball, but how is in the Olympics and stuff? I know they're not a powerhouse. How is China? Do you guys know? In the Olympics,
I think China hasn't been bad. I think they've had a fairly decent showing. I mean, they're not. I mean, they're not Argentina or whatever, but they haven't been bad.
Yeah, they're like middle of the road.
I just don't know how much this will translate to the NBA, just because it ain't like these players wasn't already playing in these colleges.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They've been playing this colleges.
Yeah.
This is so I don't know how much that's going to affect like guys going to the NBA. Other than I guess you're going to get to see maybe these guys play against the best, like each college playing against the better colleges. So you get to see them, they're going to get to play against better competition. So maybe that raises the level. But I just, you know what I mean? What's going to be the difference of them translating to the NBA before they were in this conference to when they were just playing at these colleges?
So just to give you, I guess, an answer on that, on the men's team for China, they have 9 Olympic appearances. They have 3 gold medals, 2 silver, and 1 bronze. And Asian Games medals, they've got 8 in the Asian Game medals, and on FIBA Cup medals, they got 16 gold. So they're still fairly new, Tony. I guess to answer your question on that, in terms of the Olympic side of it. So I mean, and I don't know, guys, this is just the experimental phase of it, right? I mean, but you can't tell me the population of all of Asia that they can't come into basketball and have a force. I think it's going to take them some time to organize it, develop it, get programs set up. But I think once all that gets put into place, you know, that they will take off at some point, and they will be in the NBA at some point on a more regular basis than just the 2 that we've seen so far, right? I think it's interesting. I mean, it's kind of exciting. I'm kind of curious to see see how that comes about. I'm also curious to see when this league does get its just desserts. I want to see what Asia does starting in the Olympics in terms of how they start competing, right, against those types of teams, and how that improves their chances. It's going to be interesting one way or the other. But that's all Tony, that was all I wanted to bring up. I just want to bring that up because I want to be the first to talk about it. I ain't heard nobody else talk about it.
Because there's more important stuff to talk about.
He said, "What'd you say?"
I said because there's more important things to talk about.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
I got one question before we get out of here. Who?
I can't mess up. I can't make Glenn mad because he's the one that distributes my jerseys for me at a good price. So I got to keep him happy. You're the only one though.
Who's the greatest?
I appreciate you, Jay.
Thank you.
What's the question, Tony?
Who's the greatest foreign basketball player of all time?
Oh,
who do you guys think?
I'm gonna go so far with.
I think I know who Jay's gonna go with, but we'll see.
I know he is too. I kind of lean that way, but I'm thinking of somebody else.
That's the only one I can think of.
I mean, look, you got obviously you have Joker, you have Luka, you have Nowitzki, right? Those are the 3 top performing players.
I figured Jay was going to go Olajuwon. I figured you was going to go Olajuwon.
No, and Olajuwon. I did because you know what? Here's what I like about Olajuwon's story. And there's no, seriously. And just listen to me for a minute because you probably don't have this education, Gonzo. So I'm going to give you a little bit of education here today. Olajuwon actually was a soccer player in Nigeria. That's how they found him. They saw a 7-foot Nigerian soccer player, and U of H, Bill Fitch specifically was the coach at the time. Bill Fitch went to Nigeria, grabbed up Olajuwon and said, "Hey, you want to play basketball? I think you'd be really good at it." Olajuwon didn't know what basketball was. He said, "Yep." He said, "Is it like soccer?" No. They brought him back to the University of Houston, introduced him to the game of basketball.
And became one of the greatest of all time.
No. In a year's time, he's going up against Jordan in North Carolina for the national championship. Let that marinate for a guy who's never played basketball a day in his life. So for those reasons, to go on and do what Olajuwon did to be one of the best centers to ever play the game, I am going to go with Olajuwon. And only for the fact that he didn't have the level of experience that Joker, Nowitzki, and all the other guys have had. These guys have been playing basketball their whole lives. Olajuwon gets it at what, mid-20s, early 20s? Crazy.
I'll go with Olajuwon too right now. I think that'll change because I think Joker or somebody will probably take over that mantle. But right now, if I was going to say, I would go with Olajuwon. Of course, I'm old as dirt, kind of like Jay. But Chris, can you think of anybody different?
I ain't gonna say it because it'd be too ridiculous. I would probably go with either. Never mind. Different. What you guys name? I was gonna say Jeremy Lin just to be fun, just to mess with you guys. But
it's all those Knicks fans.
No, we want to be serious today. I know if you said Jeremy Lin, I was gonna laugh at you. I knew you weren't being serious.
But no, I would say either Jokic, Dirk, or Olajuwon. I would say I would have those three probably.
Yeah, Dirk is
that come off the top. That coming right off the top of my head. I'm sure there's some other ones I'm not thinking of.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I mean, you had Stojakovic that was good. That was over. Sabonis's dad, but by the time he came over here, he wasn't the same as he was.
Yeah.
Before he came
for sure.
to the NBA. But because he
would have been interested to see what he would have done.
Yeah, I'd like to see if he'd been over here younger.
Come over 10 years earlier.
Who knows what he would have done? Because he was still real good here, even being a little older. So because he was tough.
It's hard for me to pick one. I'm going with Dirk though. I gotta go with Dirk / Olajuwon.
You can make a big argument
for either
Dirk,
one.
That's for sure.
Yeah,
but I think by the time it's over and done with, I think it might be Joker. But I won't give it to him right now because I think he's still a work in progress.
Yeah, same with Luka.
Yep.
You know, the one thing about these guys, and Tony, you know what I'm talking about, man. Look, I look at the greats when they name shots after you. That's when you know you've hit the cusp of greatness. For example, Kareem had the sky hook. You know, Olajuwon had the dream shake. And if you've never seen, I don't know if you've ever watched it, but I remember watching Olajuwon on the baseline doing fadeaways, falling out of the baseline, hitting shots, doing a dream shake to the left, coming back as a fadeaway to the right, and then nailing the ball. I mean, Tony, do you remember those days when the dream shake was around?
Yep.
I mean, it was incredible to watch. Yeah,
Rick Smith.
That's a good question, though, man. I'm glad you said that about foreign-born players. I mean, it really made me think for a little bit.
Can't forget about the Dutchman.
We forgot about the Flying Dutchman, Rick Smits.
Rick who?
Rick Smits.
You said Rick Spitz?
Smits.
Oh, Schmitz. Okay, I'm sorry. I have a hard time because I want to make sure I had that. Want to make sure I had that correctly. Okay, Rick Schmitz. Got you.
I had to that one in there too, Tony, because of the way Jay said it.
Yep.
He said Rick Spitz, Rick Shits.
Hey, rein it in. Come on, rein it in.
Yeah, I know. Watch this. Get us out of here, Tony. We'll pick this back up.
Let's get the hell out of here. You fuckers didn't laugh at my Hong Kong Phooey joke. Fuck you guys.
Now we do.
We did learn that the Pacers have that dog mentality that the Houston Rockets didn't have.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh,
that's true.
Cut him off.